Hello, welcome to Unfiltered with Mariat. I am here to have real conversations that inspire, challenge, and connect us. Together, we will dive into stories that matter, build authentic connections, and uncover strategies to grow capital, whether it's financial, social, or personal. No filters, no holding back. Just impactful discussion with incredible change makers and visionaries. Let's grow together. Join me, Unfiltered with Mariat. Thanks for coming. And, we want to just showcase a lot of incredible human beings like yourself in the space here in Vancouver that are doing running incredible organizations like the YWCA. Before we go into what your organization does, so that those listening can understand really well what the different segments you have, because it's so broad, I want to talk about you. So I did ask, how are you? But tell us more. If someone wants to know who Erin Seeley is, because here we build connections, who is Erin?
Well, we were just talking about this before we started, and I am a firstborn. I'm a sister, so I have a younger brother, and I'm a daughter. My dad passed, and I miss him a lot, but I'm really close to my stepmom and my mom, and I'm a mom. One of the best things in my life was being able to be a mom. I have a daughter and a son, and I think I'm a good partner. I have a really amazing husband who's just such a supporter and a champion, and who sees me, which is I feel really grateful for. And I'm just trying to figure it out as I go. I feel I'm going to be 50 in a couple years.
Woohoo!
And I feel
what do you mean 50? I see like a sweet 16 here.
Oh, good one. Yeah. No, I feel like I'm just starting to figure out adulting. And I see my daughter now off at university, and I think she's way ahead of me. I'm on a journey in this life to try to have a good life and try to make it better for others. And so I think that's pretty simple. That's how do I leave this place better than I found it?
Ooh.
Have fun along the way. So,
oh my God. Okay. The podcast is over.
That's it.
Oh my
That's
God.
all.
That is, you just loaded a lot to anyone listening. And I hope they get inspired, because I'm so inspired by everything you said.
Oh.
And I could pick some of the things that really resonated with me. You talked about your dad passing, and you mentioned also that your husband sees you.
Yeah.
And you feel like right now you're just kind of like enjoying life. And you mentioned about the legacy. What am I going to leave behind? Those are really heavy comments. So let's go back and talk about, I know I don't want to bring anything that's going to make you sad, but I know, we just talked about how it's okay to feel sadness, because then we know when we're actually feeling something that is amazing. So we always want to stay on the amazing feeling, because we know the difference. I lost my dad too. And some of the things I wish he was here to see me do. And I know my dad was worried for me for a lot of reasons. Worried for me, not in a bad way, but wanted me to really do really well, because of some early struggles that I had in school. But he saw potentials in me. But I know I'm grateful he saw the good side. What I mean, when I started doing really well academically, I'm so grateful he saw that. Losing my dad at 63, when he was just 63 years, was painful. That was gosh, no, maybe something I thought I was not going to be able to overcome, because it was one of my very close best friends. So feeling sadness, does that resonate? Does it make sense what I'm saying?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny hearing you say that. I think I maybe need to equate my feelings of adulthood with losing a parent. I think when you lose a parent, you do feel orphaned, right? You do feel like you do have a different place in the world. And a lot of my confidence has come from knowing that I made my dad proud and that my mom is proud of me, right? It's simple, universal things, I think, in our world of you want to work hard so that you can be a good person and have that gratitude too. I got to express gratitude to my parents.
Ooh.
And I think that was important. I didn't always feel gratitude to them. And I didn't always let myself feel sadness either. And
Mm-hmm.
I think those are things about being an adult I've learned. And I think really are what draws me to the work in gender equity, feeling more connected to other women and other people who feel oppression on the basis of their gender. And that's
Mm-hmm.
across gender diverse spectrum
Oh
now.
yeah.
But feeling like a lot of the experiences I had when I was younger make sense to me now because I understand being a woman in this world and feeling like there's a lot of inequity that I've had to fight at different points in my life. And yet now realizing through sadness, right? Realizing that I am an optimist and that I'm going to keep
Thank
being
you,
fiercely optimist.
Henry.
I think
Through sadness, you realize you're now an
you can
optimist.
be an optimist. It's
Yes.
hard work to be optimistic, right?
Yes.
Felt this a lot in the last couple of weeks with the US election because I felt sad. I felt really sad. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to sit with my sadness. And then processing that is what fuels the optimism. So you do need both. And maybe adulthood maybe that's a wisdom and a grace that's coming with age is experiencing all of those emotions. When you
Mm-hmm.
lose something in your life, being able to have grief but also not keeping it and translating it
You gotta
into
ground yourself. You
grievance,
gotta
right?
let go in a very healthy way
Yeah.
so that the grief doesn't consume you.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel the grief because the grief actually gives birth to something amazing later.
Yeah.
But don't just allow the grief to consume you.
And you see that with people, right? Where grief turns into grievance. And I understand why. And this I think is so linked to oppression and to inequality. And I see that. But I also see what inspires me is not only my family and my friends who are overcoming challenges in their lives, but just being able to work with other women who
Mm-hmm.
have incredible barriers and are so optimistic and determined. I mean, that's the human spirit, right?
Yes.
So, but I am learning, I appreciate, we were talking before about just you need to rest. I
Mm.
think I'm getting better at that. And you need to be able to let yourself experience the emotions that will come.
It's important to allow yourself experience the emotions.
Yeah.
When you mix that with rest, it's the formula to being an optimist.
Yeah,
Because
that's
when you just don't being an optimist, that means you're really sure whatever you want to set yourself on is going to happen.
yeah.
My book I wrote in my day, Whispers of Hope, and that's where the thought came from that I need to whisper hope because in
Mm.
everything in this life there is hope.
Well, I think that's such
There
an
is hope.
inspiration from you, Mariat. I think that there is hope. And it's easy with the media, especially, to feel very lost about that. And
Mm.
yet, as soon as human connection happens, I always leave hopeful. And so that's why I love these chances to just have a conversation with you. Right?
It's important and I don't know about you, but I'm so spiritual when it comes to your human connection. I feel that there's something there we don't really even understand. It's deeper than we ever can
I
imagine.
agree.
That's where my thought about the better not bitter mantra that I talk about and it's turned into a summit because I find that if people can get themselves away from bitterness and feel the sense of being better, that's it. There's hope,
Yeah. It's
right?
hope. It's
It's
hope. And I think it's being part of a community too,
exactly.
to do that. I think that to that human connection point, feeling like you're not alone, feeling like there are others who are on this journey with you, people you haven't even met yet who you
Mm-hmm.
can relate to. And just taking that energy from others is something I'm
And just
really,
relax and take
yeah,
the energy, get to know people. Don't feel
yeah,
so stiff. Don't feel so scared. It's easy to say, but the thing is, our brain are no master of us. They serve us, but most time the human being always think the brain is the king. But the brain serves you, so you can actually train your brain just like I was paralyzed for 2 years. I figured out reading so many books, got into spiritual, got into meditation, that I could make my brain do what I wanted the brain to
amazing.
do. And it took years of practice, but it worked. I'm not saying it might work in every case, but we can just give hope.
Hmm.
Because I think just being hopeful is the remedy for so many other things that we can ever imagine in
Yeah,
this big world.
yeah, I
We
think
get
that's
so
true.
worried and we talk about things so much, like we repeat it. And then when we repeat things, oh my God, I'm scared. Oh, this is not going to happen. Oh, they failed me. Oh, they did this. Oh, they did that. The brain just gets so overloaded and just that's all. So it keeps all this negativity.
Yeah.
It just bounces back all this negativity back to you. Well, you said something about being seen and everything you've just said and relating to what you do and how you're so passionate about the gender equality. You mentioned something about your husband sees you. Can you elaborate more? Because I just feel it ties to you. When you said that, I just felt I just know you.
Oh.
So,
Well, I think it's about being able to recognize now. I've been married for more than 20 years. We've been together 24. That's half my
congratulations.
life, right? I'm 48. So that's half my life I've been in this relationship. And as it ebbs and flows, right? Marriages are hard. You go through different chapters in a marriage. But what I appreciate is that how my ability to be an authentic leader or to be a sister and a daughter and a friend is rooted in having a really strong partnership with him and knowing that he's got my back and he challenges me. Like I know I picked someone who was always going to be challenging and sometimes I regret that. And I'm like, can't you just agree for once? You know, we always are debating but it's knowing that on a deep level, someone else really has your back. And I think that there's an unconditionality to that that's really powerful for me just to feel that support.
That's really powerful. You just said, like, it challenges you and you feel like sometimes go, please just agree. Let's not argue this.
Please.
But at the same time, powerfully, you still feel sane.
Yes. Because I think we
sane.
both thrive on that. I think it makes me better. And I see this at work. I love feedback and it's really hard to give and get feedback.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a people pleaser, right? So I grew up, I still have to train myself out of wanting people to like me as a leader. It's very hard, especially I think there's a lot around gender that's connected to that. And I'm also a service leader. I love servant leadership, but you can't equate that just with people pleasing. So being challenged is a good way to keep you sharp and to keep your brain and your body connected and to keep checking your assumptions.
And the people pleasing leadership, do you know it's coming from a place of being caring?
Yeah.
It's coming from a place of fearing to make mistakes. You don't want to be hard on your staff.
Yep.
So I wouldn't put it so much people pleasing, but I would say it's okay if you want to use those phrase, but you just hearing you and the little I've known about you, I think it's just coming from a place where you just want your team to know it's okay. I got you. I see you.
That
just
same
the way
way,
you've
right?
been seen, you're going back, you're showing them because you challenged at home in an argument or whatever, and then you still seen. And that leadership is balance.
It is balance. And, it's a lot. Our family's big sports fans. And it's interesting. My son and I have been hanging out, just the two of us this weekend, and he plays tennis. Tennis is very individual. It's very internal, very psychological. And it's been great to see him play a team sport because that's how you really feed off each other. And that's the work environment I love so much, is as much as I am in a leadership role, it's being part of that team and caring, feeling connected to each other, like we're working together toward the same goal. That's why I think it took me a while to find a career where I really could feel that. And
you do that really well.
And this organization, YWCA, does that really well.
So tell us about YWCA. What are the things people listening to you? Oh my God, that's Erin Seeley on there talking. I want to know more about YWCA. What does YWCA do? How can they support me? So there's a woman listening out there. What will you share?
Well, I think we are a multi-service agency. And so in basic terms, that means what we hope is someone will find us through any number of ways. It could be an employment program. It could be mentorship, could be single mom support group or housing or childcare. And through that one, maybe referral, they hear about us. But from there, there's an opportunity to provide more wraparound services. And so it can be really daunting to try to navigate social supports when you need it, right?
Oh my God, tell
when
me about it.
You're in a really hard place and nothing's going well in your life and you need urgent support. It's hard to where do you go for food? Where for housing? How do I get my kids taken care of? How about my health? And I think for us, we want to be that hub of support. And where we're strongest is where women can come to us and be able to maybe start in one area, but say, identify that she's got a goal in another area, whether that's affordable housing or maybe she wants to go back to school. And through the programs and services we provide, we can support. And a lot of that's through community referrals. We're not an island. We do this work in partnership with so many wonderful agencies. But I think our secret formula is really being able to provide multiple services. And it can happen at different times in people's lives too.
Yeah.
We often meet women who might have come to YWCA with young children at one point in their life, and then they'll come back later for something else. So,
I could have been that woman. And that
any
was
of
why
us can at
I know,
different
honestly, in
times,
my
right?
life, I wonder where was Henry when I needed her.
Yeah.
You probably were too young then anyway. You're just turning 50. When did I turn 50? I can't remember.
And that's such a gift for us. I think we take that responsibility really seriously.
Yes, we do.
If someone trusts enough to share what's going on for them, we want to honor that and respect that.
You just nailed it there. If someone trusts to share, because I remember when I was that young 20-something years old woman with a mother with her kids, and I was going through some terrible time of my life. I experienced domestic abuse, and many times I used to just think about where can I run to.
Yeah,
there wasn't anywhere for me
it's
to
safe,
go
right?
to be safe. So I don't get hit, I don't get beaten, and I don't get told off or abused verbally. It was torturing, the verbal and the physical abuse that I received. And one of the things that I'm so proud of when I see women associate in your services, in every different thing that I is mentoring or employment or anything, I needed it at some point, but I didn't have it.
I'm so sorry. That's so hard, Mariat. And it's so common, right? It's so common. We are lucky that we get to be that trusted resource for many women who are leaving violence, or they're leaving circumstances like economic coercion, where they've been financially abused, right? Or they've been emotionally abused. And I think there are more and more stories that also tell us many women don't report this and they don't feel like they have anywhere to go and they're remaining in an unsafe environment. And if you have children, that compounds for your kids. So
because there are things they say to you that makes you get scared to leave too.
Absolutely.
So
it's hard to leave.
And then you feel like a terrible person because you don't want to break off something because of your kids. But then I'm just grateful for the services that YWCA does and the lives that you're touching, because sometimes I feel like when you relive memories, and could I have been even a more better person if I got all of those services?
Yeah.
But then I feel like, when we're talking about sadness makes something good come out of you, because I usually say this a lot. If hope is your last resort, you're in a good place. I had that so strong when I didn't have any resource, and I'm just hopeful. So when you mentioned being an optimist, I've been practicing that for such a long time that is actually turning to more like a spiritual thing. Like I manifest on something, and I was like, I don't know where to go. I can't imagine how I'm going to resolve this, but I'm awful. But I'm awful with so much gratitude.
And hope is powerful,
And hope
right?
is so powerful.
It can be very powerful. And this is what inspires me, is meeting these women who have been brave to leave. And we know many women, it takes like 5 moves before they'll find something stable. Emotionally, they need to have their own oxygen mask before they can support their kids. But the women I meet, and they're achieving, like I just met a woman who's becoming a pharmacy assistant, and I can see her goal is clear, and her drive and her passion and her hope. And then from hope comes self-belief, right? And that's where I really see women thriving in society. You see, we just had a provincial election. 53% of the members elected are women.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We want more.
So we have to look, we want more, and we have to look for those reasons to celebrate. But that started with someone who was hopeful and turned that into action and self-confidence. And
we're grateful for those women who never gave up hope.
Yeah.
And who kept going to show up in spaces women couldn't be.
Yeah.
Because I grew up feeling all I needed to do was have babies, cook, clean. And it was not even like go get a job. It was stay home, cook, clean, and have the babies. And then when you start having a job, it was like, oh no, you're growing so much wings now. We need to clip it, right?
Yeah.
Just
I
kind
felt
of-
like that too. I think I felt like I should work, but I should just have a nice job that isn't going to bother anyone.
Exactly.
And I think that I know my dad didn't know what to do with me. He was like, "Well, why do you keep, taking on these jobs and big jobs and they're busy?" But then I think toward the end of his life, he really saw why. He saw how much joy it brought me to be able to try to make a difference and to try to solve big problems. I love one of the things YWCA does well and what drew me to the organization is advocacy. We don't want to stay in business. We'd love to not be in business. We'd love for people to have access to services and resources and for policies to change so that we don't
Yes.
see so much systemic
There's still
oppression.
some more policies that need to be changed, and that's
Absolutely.
another day discussion.
Yeah.
But talking about all this incredible work that YWCA does, let's talk about funding.
The tough one.
Yeah, because donations and all the support from the community is the lifeblood for not-for-profit.
Absolutely.
How does that work for you? Because here we talk about green capitals on this podcast. Where is YWCA? If there's someone listening and they want to do something for your organization, they want to be part of what kind of creative or can people come with creative idea?
Absolutely.
We know there's Jessica Liang did an amazing creative stuff where she raised money for YWCA.
Yeah.
It was like a lot of people have to know that they can own it. Like what you mentioned, what legacy am I going to leave behind? And most importantly, it's making a difference, community action that's collective. So
I think the wonderful opportunities with YWCA are that it can align with people's interests. So if you're interested in volunteering in the garden, we have a rooftop garden. If you're interested in mentorship, which is such a wonderful way to give back, it doesn't have to be financial.
For sure, yes.
And I think that's important that it is, cost of living's gone up. It is harder for people to financially contribute. And we do rely on the generosity
but at the end of the day, it's a
incredible
ripple
donors.
effect, though, because it saves
It
you.
is a ripple effect.
Saves you the funding to get that tax.
Absolutely.
Hired and done, right?
Yeah.
So volunteering is noble.
Volunteering is incredible. I think it also contributes to the quality of the programs.
Mhm.
And we rely on the generosity of private donors. We rely on corporations. We rely on individuals for whom, whether it's single moms or youth programs or supporting gender diversity, that resonates for them. There's any number of ways they can contribute all the time. We are always short of funds. It's hard not to have a scarcity mindset because the money's never enough. The government funding is part of it, but we also at YWC operate social enterprises. We have a hotel and a health and fitness center. There are wonderful community programs there and services, but we also generate that revenue because we want to pay our employees well. We know that that's important. We want to be delivering quality in the community.
What an incredible CEO you are, Erin. Oh my gosh.
I am standing on the shoulders, though, of everyone who came before me. And I think it's also the challenge. We're 127 years old, I think, as an organization.
Oh my God, how do you look so well?
Yes, exactly. We were all very good at looking young, but it's about the history that was built through many, many women before me who saw the benefit of harnessing government and philanthropy and social capital from social enterprises or revenue from social enterprises to deliver quality. And we want to grow. And it's been interesting, being a woman, I'm always checking it about, are we just growing to grow for the sake of getting big? There's such a culture of big in our world. But gender equity needs to be big to be successful.
Yeah.
We can't stay in a corner. And I think sometimes historically women's programming, we get siloed. We don't have clear data. We compete.
Oh my God, Erin, that's the part I don't like. Oh my gosh, that's the one that I think there needs to be a special program to rebuild and the mindset shift, would I call it, and just understand whether that is more gain in collaborative effort.
Yes.
Than silo.
And we don't need to be in front. That's a big thing
No.
for me. I actually love leading from the back. My favorite things are, how do we work with smaller nonprofits or small organizations that have something we don't have? Like, many organizations are just better at doing things than we are, certain areas.
Can you tell
But
us
we can
something?
partner.
I know this is unfiltered. Do you feel like some organizations that are so competitive and they don't want to really support
Yep.
organization, or they feel threatened by your organization,
Yeah.
or everybody's just running for the pot of honey and
Well, it is, the government funding structures where you have to compete on a request for proposals, and you have to be the cheapest and you have to be the best. And there's only one winner. I mean, that creates a Hunger
so
Games, right?
why does the
So
government make a policy like that that's going to
I
hurt?
think that goes back to the advocacy. We need sustained operating funding that doesn't pit us against each other.
Oh,
And
wow.
some organizations, they have scars from being burned in trying to collaborate. But I think there's always room to rebuild relationships and repair and work
I think
together.
if you go in with the right mindset, you don't get scared about being burnt, but also be careful and take care of yourself when
Yeah.
your bond is important. I walk away from a relationship
Yep.
that doesn't serve me
Yep.
because I need to take care of my mental health. Because I, as a human being, as you are a human being, we're going to get burnt.
Yep.
But we have to recognize that, okay, it doesn't serve me. I'm going to walk away with compassion and peace and focus on what I'm building in making a difference.
And where else are the partners?
Where
There are
there are
always
so many other
partners.
partners. Thank you.
And I do think there's a dynamic in the nonprofit sector, the social purpose sector, where size and scope get in the way. But I see so much quality in small organizations. There are strengths that we can bring. We have strong shared services, HR, IT,
Yes.
finance. We're strong in those areas. That's really hard if you're a small organization.
Ooh. So just if you just want to share, if there's anything you're planning, or if it's too early, and who wants to participate or support you, because I know you're all championing in all of that. So if there's anything you want to
I'll
share.
give 2 plugs. One is the 16 days against violence are coming up at the end of November,
yes.
up to December 6th. It is our goal at YWCA, with many partners, to see gender-based violence declared an epidemic by the province. It needs to be a public health issue.
Yes.
So we are building support for that and inviting others to come alongside us and work together. The second is Women of Distinction Awards. Mariat, you're a wonderful example of a Women of Distinction nominee. We want to uplift women, and it's such a wonderful event. It's April 28th, 2025.
Yeah.
Nominations close November 29th. And we have our nominees announcement event the week of International Women's Day in March. And it gives me goosebumps just to say it. It's
That's
the
an amazing
best
event you
event of
put
the
over.
year.
That event is one of the prime events in Vancouver.
It's a fantastic
and thank you for doing
celebration.
that.
And Mutual Admiration Society, I'm such a fan, so thank you. I am
a big fan of yours too, and you know that. So thank you so much, Erin. It's just been a pleasure, and thank you for joining us on Unfiltered with Mariat today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a wrap for this episode of Unfiltered with Mariat, where we dive deep, challenge the norms, and keep it real. If today's conversation resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your network, leave a review, and subscribe. Let's keep the dialogue going. Connect with me on social media at MIJ Consulting. If you have a story or topic you do love to hear, slide into my DM or visit mariatjibril.com. Until next time, stay bold, stay unfiltered.